Hi, it's been a while. I don't know how many times I'll keep saying this, but last weekend, me and my brother, we made a short film called Jammed, whose sole purpose was to just serve as a vehicle for me to try out different lighting scenarios. And so I thought today might be a good day where I break down the lighting techniques that I used to make the short film look the way it did, because I did receive a lot of comments saying that it looked really natural, but not a single frame that was shot indoors was actually natural lighting. It was all staged in a manner. So I thought it would be a great way to break down my lighting process and also share the things that I learned in the 4 years that I've not been making videos about making videos. So again, to serve as the on-screen talent for today, we have my brother who has something very exceptional to share to you. So one of the first scenes that I envision that I want to share is the scene where he wakes up in a cold sweat. And now I sort of blocked this scene with my home's geography in mind. So I already had a look I was going for. Let's break it down. So my home has a window there. It's actually south facing, so it almost never receives direct sunlight, but it's always an ambient wash of light that is coming in. I did not want to fight this natural directed light, but I did want to create the impression that there is actual sunlight streaming in through those windows. So I've placed a light about there, which mimics the same place that the light is coming from. So on the camera, the scene as of now looks like this, and well, it's actually with the household lights, which you don't want to have. So if I kill the lights,
it's all dark.
So now with just the main sun emulation light, the cob light turned on, you can notice that there's a wash of light across the scene, and there's a sort of light streak that is coming from the telephone on the wall there, and there's different shades of light and dark on his shoulder, on his right shoulder, which I really enjoy. But his face is still shrouded in darkness, and I would like to bring up the exposure of this a bit more, because though this is the sort of plot that I had in mind was supposed to be a darker one, I did not want to clue the audience in just about that, because I wanted them to watch a bit longer. So I wanted this to look more naturalistic than to evoke the emotion. So for that, I have another light here, which is a softbox. There's an LED panel inside it, and I'm just shooting it through a layer of diffusion to make it very soft. Now I will turn that on as well. So now with both of these light sources, you can see that the light is wrapping around his face in a very realistic way. The on-screen motivation for the light is the window, but the actual light source is actually this softbox. So he is giving his face a lot of volume, a lot of color, a lot of depth that you can read. But what I find is, because I'm shooting light into this artificial space and the walls are white, it is bouncing a lot more light from the walls to his face. Actually, my face is currently being lit by the bounce from that light onto the wall behind me, behind the camera there. So I would like to avoid that and actually have a contrast to this image where the side of his face that is facing camera should be in darkness. So for that, that's why he's been holding on to this. This is a piece of negative film. It's a big black rotund object, and this sort of absorbs any light. So if I were to put this side facing him, so I've now moved the negative fill to as close to the talent as possible without it coming into frame, and this is how it looks. Now straight out of camera, it might look like it's just regular light, but you can always color grade it to look like it is early morning, daytime. I sort of added a bit of warmth and a bit of blues to the undertones to make it seem more like early morning, and that is how this scene was lit. Now you can always add more lights to this scene and make it look a lot more naturalistic, but I prefer leaving things with one or two more lights. So basically I've added a key light, which is the cob light in the background, and I've accentuated it with another light to sort of wrap it around his face, and I've added additional contrast by introducing negative fill. And I find that this is a really good looking image, and this is what got me started. I first shot this frame, and then I had the idea to make an entire short film around that. The thing about good cinematography is that the greatest work actually goes unnoticed, because the best shots ever have always been in service of the story. And so the part that I played here was to accentuate what reality is. I already understood where light might be streaming into from my house, and I managed to supplement it with my own lighting fixtures to alter reality to appear in its best form, to not recreate reality. That's the mindset that one must possess when trying to shoot anything, because we can't fight against nature. It's better to have our decisions informed by nature and informed by the limitations around us. So that was the reason why the short film looked as natural as it did, as so many of you told me, and I'm really grateful for all the people who watched it. Now on to what he had to say.
Yes. I had a quote prepared, but that quote is long. So let me read it for you. Okay? It starts with one. Practice makes perfect. But does perfectly perfect practices make practice perfect or perfect practice? And if practicing perfectly practices that are practically perfect, then perfectly practicing the practice of perfection. Perfectly means practices perfectly practice, perfectly practiced, perfect practice. Thank you.
I'll see you in the next video.
Peace.